The Euphrates is Western Asia's longest and most historically significant river. The different lives of the ancients were greatly reliant on this river. The drying up of the Euphrates River is no longer a prophecy. It is happening right now. Many old discoveries have arisen as a result of the Euphrates River's drying up, and these discoveries have astonished the world. Greetings, everyone! We hope you like today's video of the unknown facts, in which we will talk about how the Euphrates River finally dried up and now something terrifying has emerged. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe and click the bell symbol so that you are notified immediately whenever there is an update. Let's begin. The Euphrates River is the longest in Southwest Asia, stretching 1,740 miles, and is one of the two major components of the Tigris-Euphrates River system. The river begins in Turkey and flows southeast through Syria and Iraq. The Euphrates River is formed by the confluence of the Karasu and Murat rivers in the Armenian highland and flows through the Taurus Mountains to the Syrian plateau. It then flows across western and central Iraq before joining the Tigris River and continuing to the Persian Gulf as the Shatt al-Arab. Its valley was intensively irrigated in ancient times, and numerous large cities lined its banks, some of which are still standing. It designates an area known historically as Mesopotamia together with the Tigris. The two rivers where civilization began. In biblical and non-canonical writings, the Euphrates River fulfills both geographical and metaphorical functions. The Euphrates River, which runs through modern-day Iraq and into Syria and Turkey, is one of the two principal rivers of ancient Mesopotamia's Fertile Crescent. It is originally referenced in the Bible as one of 4 rivers that flow from the Garden of Eden, and it is mentioned again in the Hebrew Bible, non-canonical literature, and the Christian Testament. The Euphrates is frequently mentioned in the Hebrew Bible as a geographical marker that delineates belonging and exclusion. For example, in Gen 15:18, God makes a covenantal pledge of land to Abraham, with the Euphrates River as its eastern boundary. This boundary is repeated in the following instances. The Euphrates is not just the promised border, but also the real geopolitical boundaries of Solomon's dominion. Jacob crosses the Euphrates to bring his new family to his parents and brother to rejoin his tribe and escape his uncle. Following the Babylonian exile, the Euphrates is utilized as a literary border to represent the exiles' isolation from their country. The Euphrates is occasionally referred to simply as the river in biblical literature. In ancient writings, the Euphrates can serve as a metaphorical function in addition to being a geographical boundary. This is not a rare occurrence. Geographers like Edward Soya emphasize that geography is not a neutral or objective category. Rather, it symbolizes the objectives and perspectives of its producers, whether modern or ancient. Many Christians are keeping their eyes on the Euphrates as the river is nearly dry, and there is a Bible scripture associated with the Euphrates referencing 4 fallen angels once it has dried up. As Revelation 16:12, "Then the 6th angel poured out his bowl on the great Euphrates River, and it dried up so that the kings from the east could march their armies toward the west without hindrance." According to this scripture, the 6th angel poured his bowl on the Euphrates River. The bowl's contents caused the river to dry up. Prior bowl judgments have either polluted or ruined the majority of the world's water. This decision is not about tainting or eliminating the use of this water. Rather, it appears to be about dismantling a defensive barrier to make room for invading kings from the east. The Euphrates is referred to as the Mighty River 5 times in the Bible. It marked the eastern limit of Israel's inheritance. Because it was difficult to cross, the river provided some security for Israel, and a wilderness to the west separated it from Canaan, the Promised Land. It flows over 2,000 miles toward Palestine before turning southeast toward the Persian Gulf. When Revelation was written in the 1st century, the Euphrates separated east from west, and the kingdoms of China and India lay beyond it to the east. Centuries before, Cyrus of Persia's army conquered Babylon by diverting the Euphrates River, which ran through the city. They were able to march into Babylon and take the city on the dry riverbed. The eastern invader will cross the Euphrates, march into Babylon, and enter Palestine during the Great Tribulation. So what caused the Euphrates to dry up, speaking of scientific reasons? According to water experts, the combination of dams and drought has reduced the flows of the two rivers flowing into Iraq this year to only a 1/6 of prior levels. So what was found submerged beneath the river that shocked the world? The dramatic decline in water levels has revealed several archaeological and ancient monuments that were previously drowned beneath the two historic rivers in Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. Water levels at the Euphrates Dam Lake in eastern Syria have lately dropped, revealing a vast archaeological burial site. The site, which dates back to the Byzantine civilization in the Raqqa province, stretches across large areas on the eastern bank of the Euphrates Dam, also known as Tapka Dam Lake, beginning in the northwestern countryside of Raqqa and ending at the administrative border between Raqqa and Aleppo. The decline in the Euphrates and Tigris rivers' flows during the last 3 years has revealed several archaeological sites that had been submerged in the waters of the two rivers that run through Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. In recent years, water levels in the Euphrates River have dropped to dangerously low levels. The flow rate from Turkey into Syrian territory is less than 200 cubic meters per second, which is less than half of the amount agreed upon by the two nations in 1987. According to Abdul Razak al-Aliawi, an engineer and former director of Syria's Euphrates River Maintenance Department, the Euphrates River bed witnessed 6 historical eras, including the Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Greek, Byzantine, and Islamic eras. He called the construction of dams an unjust decision. Yusuf Zayin's Syrian government completed the Euphrates Dam in 1968 without diverting the Euphrates River to the desert and building lakes there. The dam's lake was built with a length of 100 kilometers and a width of 8 kilometers and drowned the most prominent ancient monuments in the river, Alawi explained. Only a few monuments and antiques were spared. Many cemeteries are located in this area, which is also believed to feature hundreds of Syriac Christian monasteries, he stated as the water levels decline. When the weather is bright and the lake water is clean, the submerged cemetery can be seen plainly. A few graves have been discovered on the right bank of the lake in Raqqa's western district, he said, but the left bank is rockier, making digging works difficult. The retreating waters of the Euphrates River in Anna, Iraq, uncovered the ancient city of Tablis in July. Mohammad Jassim, an Iraqi archaeologist, reported the appearance of at least 80 historic sites as a result of the Haditha Dam's lower water level. On June 6, the Department of Antiquities in Dohuk, Kurdistan region of Iraq, revealed the discovery of a 3,400-year-old Mitanni Empire metropolis that surfaced when the waters of the Tigris River basin retreated. Bex Privkani, director of the Dohuk Department of Antiquities, informed reporters on June 6 that the city, originally known as Zakiko, was mentioned in Babylonian documents. It has a palace and several other buildings, as well as a massive fence, he claimed, and cuneiform texts were discovered. The lowering waters of the Keban Dam Lake on the Euphrates River in the On region of eastern Turkey brought the historical Hastek Castle, which can only be reached by boat, to the surface last year. According to Korkmaz San, the dean of the history department of Firat Euphrates University in Turkey, the castle is thought to be a pre-Christian temple. In a press statement at the time, he said that the castle is made up of 3 stories carved into the rocks, with Greek inscriptions on the inside walls. The receding waterbed of the Euphrates River and the finding of archaeological sites is not new, said Saad Fanza, who worked for nearly 30 years at the National Museum of Damascus as director of the Photographic Archive and the Documentary Archive of Syrian Antiquities. When the dam lake's water level dropped in the 1980s, similar locations resurfaced. One of the most notable sites drowned by Euphrates Dam water when Lake Assad was built was Murraybet, an old village mound going back to the Neolithic era, he noted. This discovery shed light on the region's agricultural prosperity as well as the deification of women at the period. The Euphrates River runs through Syria and Iraq, while the Tigris flows from Turkey to Iraq, Fanza continued. Due to the global drought, submerged archaeological sites in these countries will continue to resurface. The Euphrates is not only a literal boundary marker, but also a symbol of the idealized or future frontier of the world. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and tell us what you think about the Euphrates River. Do you think God has anything to do with the drying up of the river, or it's just us humans? Thank you for watching. We're looking forward to catching up with you in the next video.